All right, so let's go ahead and get started because I want to be respectful of everyone's time this evening. I'm going to make two introductions tonight. The first one, there is no coincidence that there is three Saris names on here, but up in the Connie and Ted Saris, I'm honoring my parents in Texas who have come to this live. We had a band. Where's the band? So please provide your own concessions. If you have any questions into my background, ask. But thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for joining. It's good to see you. Other Phil Saris with the steel toe logo is Kelly, I believe, on the line, just hanging out and watching. So tonight I want to introduce a very good friend of mine who is also a student of Steel Toe University, and that is Andrew Grider. Hello, Andrew. Let me go into a little bit of background about what I know about Andrew. Certain people you can tell have an entrepreneurial spirit, a drive, a hunger, and they just keep going and going. And no matter what falls in their path, they don't see it as anything more than the next challenge or obstacle to be crossed. And some people go even a step further, and in growing, in overcoming these challenges, they're growing themselves at the same time. But it takes a special person to do all of that with integrity, with honor, with character. And what I like about Andrew is not just what he's accomplished, not the fact that he has grown his business to the expanse that he has, and I'll let him explain that at just 23 years old, but the fact that this person has character. I mean, he's defined who he is, what he wants, and he's going after life. And that's the best way to live it, because we're all going to die. And I say that with a smile. I mean, it's not to depress anybody. We're going to die. So we should accelerate and live each day as though we're going to die, because we are. So just live life. When you think I'm too afraid to do this, or I'm too nervous to take this on, somebody out there isn't, and they're doing it. But everybody goes through that. People don't just wake up and succeed. There's failure is a major. If someone said bake a cake called success, the main ingredient would be failure. So with that, I want to introduce Andrew Grider. I want to give him the opportunity tonight to tell his story. We'll probably hold some questions, and maybe throughout what he's going to deliver, and he's got some slides. We'll stop at certain points and see if y'all have questions, but please feel free to take notes. I would encourage you and get to know this young man, because Andrew Grider is a name that you will not forget and will be known. So welcome. Thank you, Andrew. I'm going to mute myself, and you have the floor, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate the introduction. That was, well, it's humbling, and it's an honor to be here with all you guys and to share some about my life. So I'm really excited. Got a lot to share with you guys, so I'm just going to dig in if that's okay. And Phil, I can go on talking, so just go ahead and interrupt me when it's time for, when you think it's time for some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Share that for you. Hold on.
Thank you.
There you go.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys, everybody see my screen okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to be talking today about my dream. I've dreamed from a very young age of owning my own company. So I've been able to make it a reality. It's been a long journey, and I'm hoping through tonight that you guys will be able to take something away from my journey, my successes, and of course my failures. And failures is a fact, like Phil was saying, 100% the way that I have grown the most. So a little bit about me. I love landscaping. There's something about nature being able to transform properties that is just awesome. We get to use our creative power every single day. Right now, I'm the president of Southern Sun Landscaping, also own Southern Sun Sanitation. I'm also the CEO of Global Disinfecting and a board member of I Know a Pro, which is a local networking organization in Roanoke, Virginia. In my free time, I enjoy working out, reading, and listening to motivational speeches. Listen to motivational speeches on a daily. It's how I start my morning. It's something to get me amped, hype, and just to listen to these people that are on stage, like speaking, and you can just hear the fire pouring out of them, and to take what they have and really apply it to your own life is just crucial. So that is something that I absolutely love. And of course, my faith in God is super important to me. So that's a little bit about me. My early years, I was actually born in England. I grew up in a military family, so I had the opportunity to move all across the world. Finally settled in a place in Southwest Virginia called Roanoke, Virginia, which is around where I started Southern Sun Landscaping. I had 3 failed lawn care companies before I left high school, which were great learning opportunities. When I was in high school, I had the opportunity to study at my local community college, so I had special permission from the school to drive there in the morning. And then I would take my high school class the afternoon for 11th and 12th grade. When I was 16 years old, there's a guy named Joe Lana, and I went to work for him for one summer, and I got to learn a ton about the landscaping industry, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him. And there's going to be other people I'm going to talk about in this presentation, people that have helped me come to the place that I am today, because I wouldn't be here without the great people around me. I ran cross country track in high school. I graduated valedictorian in high school and went on to study building construction at Tech. It wasn't my passion. I wanted to make my dad happy and please him, get a college degree. But I ended up dropping out of college because I had to pursue my own passion and realize who I am on the inside and pursue that. And so my dream was always to own my own business. This is a picture of a truck that looked like my first truck. This is not the actual picture. I don't have a picture of my first truck. My first truck was a 2006 Dodge Dakota, $6,000 in my bank account. That's all I had. I spent it all on that truck. I went to Bailey's Used Auto. Little did I know, that thing was off-roaded a ton. So every 50 miles, I'd be pulling over the side of the road and let the transmission cool down. So yeah, I just had to work with it. I didn't have any money. I started this with nothing. And that's, for some of you guys that are just starting, you can start with nothing. And that's the great thing about it. You can start with nothing. And that's what I had to do. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit more challenges. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit more adversities to overcome, but you can literally start with nothing. So when I was in my second year of college, I was the right-hand man of another landscaping company before I had started Southern Sun Landscaping. We were working at this job, and a sweet old couple, and we were putting in a paver path, and it just wasn't done right at all. The right base layer wasn't put in, wasn't compacted. There was dirt and stuff left all over the property. The busted up concrete was laid out. It was just a job that was done without integrity, and that bothered me to my core, to the point that I quit my job as the right-hand man of this other landscape company. And I was like, you know what? I went to those customers. I drove there after I quit that job. And I drove there and I personally apologized to them. They were the coolest couple ever. Name was Nina Zanella, and she designed the Southern Sun logo you see behind me. She worked for a nonprofit at the time. And so this logo came out of that, and they were my very first customers, and they gave me some broken lawn equipment, which I got fixed up. Tiny little riding mower that you sit on. I mean, it was old, and that's what I started with is some donated stuff that I was able to fix up. I was so poor that I couldn't even afford a set of ramps to get that riding mower into my truck. So I would climb with my truck and I lift the front end up, and I climb down and lift the back end up. So that's how I started. After I finished my the 4th semester of college, I'm like, okay, this isn't for me. I'm just doing this because I want to make my parents happy. I want to make them happy, and I need to stop living my life for other people. I need to start living the life that I was designed. I believe everybody was put here on earth by God, created with a seed, a spark, a desire, a dream, and it is our God-given duty to go and explore and pursue that dream, not for anybody else, but for the passion and the dreams that God put aside us when he created. So anyway, took a leap of faith, and I went all in. So my key takeaways from this is go all in and chase your dreams. Don't do anything half-assed. Go all in and chase your dreams, even if it means taking a huge leap of faith and you've got no money. You know, take that all in stride, because again, I'm a guy that I don't have a family. I'm single. But go all in when you chase your dreams. Also, key point I already hit on, you can start with nothing. All you need is a dream, a relentless work ethic, and you need to adopt a fearless attitude. I took risks, take risks, and continue to take risks that are absolutely massive, but they always pay off in the end. And if you never do it, if you never take a risk, you're always going to fail. You're always going to fail. And I take risk, and I fail at some, and I succeed at some, but ultimately I never stop trying. So that's what kind of got me in there and kept me perpetuated. I have a link to a video by Eric Thomas. He's known as the hip hop preacher. We're not going to watch it tonight just because it's too long, but it's there for you guys to look up later. All right, whoops, move this over. Overcome the naysayers. This is huge. I had people around me, especially those closest. I had family members, like family members, like that are in the same house as you. You don't have enough money. You're not going to make it. You don't have the skill. Look, I'm a young guy, right? I'm like 19 at the time. Young guy. You don't have enough life skills, right? You should finish college first. It's what everybody else does, right? You know, let's just go take that route that everybody else does. You'll be stuck working with your hands forever. You're going to break your body. I heard all this stuff, right? And it hurts, especially when those closest to you are doubting you. But what I did is I turned it into a passion. I love when people tell me I can't do something, because I want to tell that person I'm going to prove you wrong. That, to me, is taking the naysayers and take that negative energy and turn it into something positive. So ignore them to the point that their negativity does not affect you, but prove them wrong. So that's my little point upon that. Yeah, no, it hurts, but prove them wrong. So my key takeaway is fall in love with those people. Don't let any negativity affect your dream, and leave average behind. Look around you. We are surrounded by average people doing average stuff, waking up to a 9-to-5 that they don't really want to go to, but they need the money. They left their dreams behind. And that's where a lot of those naysayers are going to come from. So leave average behind and always aim to excel at your God-given dream. So I put another video in there for you guys to watch later. It's still a bit too long for us to go over tonight, but it's called Prove Them Wrong. You've got the stories of Tom Brady, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Conor McGregor are the ones who speak in that video. So this was my initial service area. I was renting a little apartment at the time, and I was able to, I had a little one car garage that I was able to fit all my stuff in. And I started off Peppers Ferry Road while I was still in college. And I was able to work out a deal where I lived there for like $350 a month. But I had to do a bunch of work around the property. So I started serving blacks from Radford, Christiansburg, and the Bet Mountain areas, which is not pictured. The Bet Mountain areas where Nina Zanella lived, my first ever customer. So this was the start. So I had some initial struggles, as all businesses do. I mean, I needed clients, no money for advertising. So what I do is I print off a bunch of flyers, just go door to door. Hey, do you need landscaping? Hey, do you need landscaping? And it's discouraging because you're going door to door. You're knocking on 200 doors a day, and you may only get, you may only get 25, 30 people that actually answer the door. And out of that, you may only get 1 or 2 jobs. And some days you go out and bang on doors all day, and you'll get nothing. But the important thing is to never stop trying. And even those days where you are discouraged, is just to keep going, because the beginning is one of the hardest parts of running your business, but it's one of the times that I look back on with the most joy and satisfaction, remembering those days, because the problems, as I was talking with Phil the other day, the problems only get bigger, and we're always wanting to work towards those bigger problems. Next problem is my truck broke down all the time. Like I said, solution, made it work. Every 50 miles, pull the thing over the side of the road, wait for it to cool down. and not enough money for tools. So I worked with what I had. Sometimes that meant I had to do a whole lot more manual labor, but also bought tools as I went. So for example, if I had a job that I sold, I would try to get enough deposit on it so I had enough money to buy whatever tools I needed for that job, and then also buy the materials. So that's kind of how I deal with that struggles, and how I started the company from nothing. So key takeaways from this is don't let anything stop you. Think outside the box. Thinking outside the box is crucial for all stages of the business, so that we can always make ourselves better, and make ourselves better than our competitors, make ourselves better in general, inspire the people around us to do better, and bring everybody up with us. But it's also important in the beginning stages, especially when you don't have that money that you can throw to solve some of your problems. And working with what you have. Everybody must start somewhere. Be patient, but be relentless. You have to be patient with yourself when things aren't going as well in the beginning. You have to be patient if you're not growing as fast as you want, but be relentless. Never stop working towards your dream, towards your goal. You're going to shoot for that goal 120 miles an hour all the time. So eventually I was able to get rid of that terrible Dodge. I worked during the day, and paperwork I did work during the night, did the estimates in the evenings. And the key take was as my peers were partying, right? My peers are partying, they're having fun. I'm watching them have fun. But I was working because my dreams, my ambitions are more important than what the people around me are doing. I don't have a single friend left from high school because of that. I don't have a single person from high school I say on top of, but fulfilling our dreams and ambitions is more important. So ignore the outward noise that is going to try to pull you away from your goal, away from your dream. Never let any obstacle in your way. And of course, as all business owners do, they finally figure out you're not charging enough, because you're out there like, oh, I'm making $20 an hour. No, you insurance, you got the accounting software, all that other stuff adds up. So I quickly found out that I wasn't charging enough and had to charge more. But that's my second truck. It was a Chevy Silverado 6-cylinder, and I remember towing that thing back and forth between Roanoke and Blacksburg, and there's a little bit of a mountain you go up. That thing was struggle. So eventually, after making a little bit more money, I was able to put a down payment on a 2016 Ford F-250 that I bought in January 2018. And at this point, I was expanding my regions a little bit to Blacksburg, Radford, Christiansburg. I had Roanoke City, Roanoke County, Salem, and Vinton. At this point, I dropped out of college, so I moved back into Roanoke, and I lived out of a basement of a friend's house for a while, just to make ends meet, so I could focus on growing and developing my company. So the key lessons I learned during this time frame is that I need to charge more. I think that's crucial for everything. Hiring friends is not the best idea. I learned that the hard way. They go in there and they're like, oh man, he's just going to be my buddy. He's going to let me get away with this. Like I said, I can do this, I can do that. But nah, I would highly recommend. I probably will never hire a friend again. Just because the boundaries, it's hard for them to respect. I won't say never, because that's not a good word to use, but most likely I would stay away from that. I also learned that signing contracts is necessary. I was young and naive at the time and thought handshake meant something. And the other thing is to get everything in writing. I learned that the hard way. During a snowstorm, I had this HOA Ford F-250 with a straight plow, and I plowed that HOA. Was 3 pushes, but I got the go ahead for the third push over the phone and not in writing, so they ended up jipping me out of my money. Hardest snowstorm I've ever pushed, because the power steering pump went out in the Ford, but I still kept going, and we finished strong during that snowstorm. So setting an industry standard. The next thing this was the first award I ever got, which was really cool. Which told me that I was doing something right, because I want to do something better than what other people are doing. I want to set a level for professionalism for our industry, not only with our employees, but with our customers as well. So we were voted the top 10 best local companies for home service in 2019. And we were, as you can see up there, there's no other landscaping companies on that list, which means we were voted the #1. We weren't the biggest. We're still not the biggest in that particular area, but it speaks volumes to the type of integrity and customer service I try to present. So company values is really important. I finally put these on paper towards the end of 2020. So this is what I set up to define my company, not only our vision, our goals, but also our what I try to communicate with my employees every day. I think it's really important to ask the questions why you exist. Why does Southern Sun exist? I want to deliver the best landscape solutions that wow our clients beyond expectation. And in order to that, we have to have some guiding principles. So what guides my company is client experience. Teamwork. Teamwork is huge. You can accomplish more when you have people that are working together on something. And teamwork is one of the most important aspects for me in landscaping, using everybody's skills, because I'm not the best at everything in my company. I have a guy named Joe, who's the head of operations for my Roanoke branch, and he is so much better at managing employees than me. So utilizing your team to the best of your ability is key. Operational excellence is another one, and profitable expansion. And then the values that really got my company are effort, integrity, ambition, and particularity, which is another word for detail-orientedness. In doing so, I've been able to set a standard where I'm able to charge more than some of the other landscaping companies in our area, but it has definitely helped guide what we're doing. Another one that I personally hold very dear is faith, and the faith that I have in God to do great things, because I've had some insane miracles happen in my company during some intense times. So I'll talk about those a little bit later. So if you don't have a value flag, I highly recommend taking the next week to think over this and really asking yourself the questions: why do you exist? What 4 principles guide your company? What 4 values do you value the most for your company, for your employees? And also, how do you go about measuring your success? So I kept growing. At this point, we're serving the New River Valley, we're serving the Roanoke Valley, and we're also serving parts of Smith Mountain Lake. That one we don't do full service in, like mowing and stuff. Reason we go all the way out there is because it's full of wealthy clients, and there's typically not a whole lot of good core landscapers out there. So it's a good way for us to make a little bit of money, and we just budget in for the travel time of our crews. So a little bit about COVID. I know it's probably affected all of us. When the news first hit in April, I lost $140,000 worth of pre-sold contracts in 2 days. Despite that, I still was pushing hard, still managed to triple the company in 2020. I finally got an official office. I got myself out of the field, and I brought on a business consulting group to help with marketing and general advice, which is awesome, because when I was first doing marketing, you have people calling. I'm like, sure, I'll try that. Sure, I'll try that. Sure, I'll try that. But I was just throwing dollars and hoping something would happen. Now with the business consulting group, we have a targeted budget, and we're able to target the TV, the radio, the newspaper, and all of that, and we can track the results. So that's something I can go into more detail later. We were also named the 2020 Bash 2020 Business Champions Among Us. We helped found Roanoke's National Beautification Day. So we go into a park, we help beautify the park. We also beautify a block of homes. So it's really important to start giving back to your community when you can, because your community gives a lot back to us. So I grew like crazy. And this is where I get to one of my biggest failures. And it sucks to admit, but my systems failed. My systems failed. I had employees that took massive advantage of me, and man, they took about $80,000 worth of stuff from me, between stolen equipment, stolen supplies, because I buy a lot of supplies in bulk to save money, credit card transactions, money missing from the bank. It sucked. I was so focused on growth and so excited. I was like, the money's coming, jobs are coming in, we're doing awesome. I missed the details. That's my fault. I have to own that at the end of the day. So I forgive them. That's cool. They can do whatever they want. You know, they're not part of this company. But there was 12 employees involved with that. So I fired, by the end of November, I had fired 12 employees, and we were 90% understaffed going into snow season. So plus all our cash accounts are drained. So I'm going to talk a little bit about good debt and bad debt, because I because I think it's important to kind of lay the foundation. And if you have a different opinion, I think that's awesome, because I know there's a lot of people that like to buy as they go. I'm a big believer in leveraging your debt in order to grow. So good debt to me involves stuff like assets that produce money. So if I can buy a leaf loader or a truck or a mower, and I can immediately put that thing to work, and it's making more money and profitable money after I pay the crew that has to go to operate that, after I pay, you know, the overhead, the loan payments, that to me is good debt. And I can also talk later on at some point about the difference between leasing and getting out debt, because there's a lot of different types of leases and debt. So I leverage different types of debt to grow. Bad debt is anything that's not attached to an asset, in my opinion. So luckily I built up enough good credit business wise. But in doing so, because I had to fire 12 employees, because the cash flow was drained, I had to take on a lot of bad debt. So it sucks having to do this. I still have to pay back a good bit of it. It sucks. You know, I'm blessed that my credit was built up to that point that I was able to take on that debt, but it still sucks because I had to do that in order to save the company, but still that was not enough. So I'm going to go into that a little bit more. But I want to stop here because I think it's important that we have some key takeaways regarding this, you know, what happened to me. You can grow too fast. And I admit it, I grew too fast because my systems were growing as fast as my company was growing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with growing fast. I don't regret growing fast. In the past year, I've probably gotten 10 years of business experience, hard business experience, in less time than it would normally take. I don't regret what I did, but I think something to learn from that is you can outgrow your systems, and you can outgrow them fast. But even if you outgrow your systems too fast, that does not mean that you are done. So we're going to go into a little bit of the fight it took. Phil, do you want me to stop here for any questions?
Yeah, sure. Let's just take a minute. I mean, anyone listening in, do you have any questions, takeaways of your own? Any ideas you've heard or things you want to find out more about Andrew? Al, how are you? You know I like to call on you, Al. All right, maybe you're busy. Andrew, let me ask you, I got a couple things that I want to say. First of all,
Yeah.
Great story so far. I mean, I get it all the way down with the doubters, the naysayers. I mean, it's to the point. You'll get to the point, and you're there. I see Al unmuted himself, so I'll say this really quick. You get to the point where you'll say, "I'm going to do this," and someone says, "You'll never be able to do it," and you're like, "Thank you," because you know that you're on to something good. You know somebody they need to tell you you're going to fail. I mean, it's necessary. If someone's not telling you you're going to fail, your idea just isn't that good. So come up with a better idea. And when people tell you you're going to fail, you're on the right path.
Thank you, Phil.
Real quick, what does Global Disinfections do?
Global Disinfecting. So it's based up here in Richmond, Virginia, in the Glen Allen area. We use electrostatic machines to disinfect against the COVID-19 virus. I saw the writing on the wall in April, so I jump-started it, and within one night I had launched a company. I got 3 other backers on board, and so we're all really cool friends. So it's cool, like I have these people that own these awesome, like super successful companies, and multiple of them in all sorts of industries that I was, because I worked with them through one of their other companies. So I was able to bring them on. I told them my idea. They're like, yeah, that's great, let's do it. And so, yeah, it focused on electrostatic disinfecting as well as the blood tests for the for COVID-19. So, yeah.
I just felt like there was a nugget of some wealth in that one little line that you had. So thank you I'd love to learn more. But Al, go ahead.
Thank you.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Al.
Yeah, I think he's doing great. I mean, fast growth is definitely it's exciting, it's fun, but it can lead to the systems is the biggest thing. You know, it's hard to keep track of everything. So you know, I've been through that. Having multiple crews, it just makes everything harder, especially when you got to put somebody in charge, and put all your faith in that person, and then sometimes they let you down. So the longer you run your business, the better you get at knowing who to put your faith in and how to micromanage that person that you're putting in charge. And so that helps. But also, after you've been in business a while, you start to figure out, maybe I should just charge more and do less work and not try to be the biggest in town. But I mean, as a young guy, that's, conquer the world. And, there's nothing wrong with that. But, I'm to a point now, I'd rather do less work, make higher profit. And there you go.
Al, how long have you been in contracting?
Well, my dad started in 1962. I took over in 89. So I've been involved in it my whole life. But yeah, next year will be 6 years in the same little town, 10,000 people. So we got a great reputation, but nonetheless, people come to me for the hardest jobs. Typically, it's like nobody else wants. Oh, call Al, he can do that. So it makes it challenging sometimes. I had a guy call, and this fits right into what I'd like to do. He's like, hey, I want to move a pole barn. So I get down there. It's a 60 by 90 pole barn, 14-foot high ceilings. And, how much would that cost? So you got to try to figure that out. But the nice thing about that for right now is I don't have to buy any material. All I got to do is take it down, stack it up, and then maybe possibly put it back up. Because originally he was wanting me to put it back up too. I'm like, well, I can do that, but let's get past the tearing down stage first and see how that goes. So I haven't got that job yet, but who knows?
Well, Al, I really appreciate you being on here, and I have always valued you as a contractor and a friend and somebody that I know very well. And I know you have a boatload of experience, and we've had a chance to talk on a number of occasions. So I love what comes alive in everybody's story, and they're so different but the same. We've all been there, hit failures, people telling us we can't, running out of money. I mean, you're going to run out of money. If you haven't yet, just enjoy it when it comes. You're going to go flat broke at least once, and probably more than once. And that's what makes you. That's what makes the survivors survive. That's, when they say small businesses usually go out of business within, the first 1 to 3 years. That's where you fall. I mean, if you've made it through these thresholds and you're on the other side telling a story, doesn't mean you're done. I mean, you're not done until the business is closed and you've actually, retired and you're safe with your money. So you're still not safe at any age if you're still contracting. But our tolerance for risk, when you were talking about it, I like that. And, as my parents are on here watching this, they will know I have an insanely high risk tolerance, and it has caused me failures on many occasions, but it's also brought a lot of success. So it's who I am. I mean, at this point, it's who I am. I'm willing to risk. And it's fun. I mean, I'm a little smarter about it now, but thank you, Al, Andrew.
Thank you, Al.
Is there
You're welcome.
anyone else that's got a question or a comment?
Can I make a comment?
Of course.
Andrew, you are so young to have experienced all of this, learned from it, grown from it, and put things down in such a way that it's enabled your business to grow. I mean, everybody's going to fail at something at some time, but you've taken your failures and said, okay, what did I do wrong? And you've changed it. And like I say, you're very young to be at that stage where you can do that. Congratulations for your maturity and your objectivity and your willingness to do whatever is necessary to grow your business. That's very commendable.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
You're invited to every webinar, Mom and Dad. Thank you. All right, Andrew, continue, my friend.
Awesome. All right. So one of my, I told you, I warned you guys up front, like I'm big on motivational stuff. So I don't know if you guys know a lot about Dwayne Rock Johnson. Everybody knows him about this famous movie star. But he didn't start famous, and he had to get there. And so I want to take a little bit. I could tell you the $7 back against the wall story myself, but I think he does it better. Let me make sure I can share the sound. Phil, let me know if the sound doesn't work, but I think I just shared it.
The thing that has worked for me is to remember the hard times. So, and I'm sure you guys all have your processes. And again, I'm going to tell you what's worked for me. So before a big movie comes out, before back in the days when I was wrestling with WWE, a WrestleMania match, anything big that would happen, I would always take a moment and I just remind myself, all right, I was evicted when I was 14. We were kicked off the island. We couldn't live in Hawaii. Had no place to live. A lot of shit happened. Then when I moved to Nashville, I was arrested multiple times by the time I was 16 years old. I gotta remember that. If I were playing on this team, which my skills are, what's that term? Oh, the shits. So I would never play. But before I lace up, before I get on the court, before I play in these big games, before I go to the Staples Center, where history is there, those are historic walls there at the Staples Center. I would remember that, and it allows me then to be present in the moment and understand, holy shit, the stuff I have around me right now, this is the shit that I dreamed of when I was a kid. I am here. And I played for University of Miami, played for great teams. Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, they were balling. Warren Sapp was playing today at that time. I was starting defensive tackle. Yeah, they moved him over to D-line. And he looked at me and was like, yo, dude, I'm gonna take your spot. I said, you ain't taking my spot. He said, I'm gonna take your spot. We battled, and he took my spot. And you can imagine how that fucked with me, because there goes my opportunity. He went in, switched to defensive tackle, lit the world on fire. Well, what that did, it crushed me, it crushed my dreams. I had a piss poor senior year, zero production, no NFL, no combine invite, nothing. Finally went to the CFL, Calgary Stampeders, making $250 a week Canadian. And I had to send that shit home to my wife at that time. Had no money. So I remember that. When I got cut from Canada, I had $7 in my pocket. And I always tell that story. So now my production company is $7, advertising agency is $7, everything is $7. So I always remember that. What helps me is to keep the hard times in the front of my mind. Because it allows me to go into these big moments that I've worked my ass off, and you guys have worked your ass off. It allows me to go into these big moments with a different perspective. What it also does for me, and again, this is what works for me. Like, I keep my back, excuse my language, my back is up against this motherfucker. Every day, it's against this fucking wall. Excuse my language. But it's up against this motherfucker because it's what I believe in. And when my back is against this motherfucker, then there's nowhere to go. But that way. That's it. So I feel like this could be something, an ideology and mindset that could help you. Could, if you look at it that way. Because you made it already. We made it. We're successful boys, and we're lucky boys to be where we're at. Well, you guys made it. Everybody's rich in the room. Nobody's gonna get evicted anymore. Anything you got, there's no more money problems, right? You got a lot of hands out now. Can I get a little bit? Can I get a little bit? Right, that happens. But when you make it, for me, I need this. I need this. So every day, my back is up against this motherfucker. And this is how I operate. Now, doesn't mean you don't smile. Doesn't mean you don't laugh and joke. Right? You're happy. I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. But when it comes to business, and when it comes to executing, it's up against this. And I gotta go that way. And I don't give a fuck who is in front of me. They're not gonna stop me.
Wow. That's just one of the most powerful short clips. I encourage you guys to go out and look for the longer clip of his entire speech about a $7 store in his back against the wall and where he came from. Because if everybody knows where he is now, I mean, everybody in the world almost knows who Rock Johnson is, but he came from adversity and he came from failures, but he didn't stop there. And I think this video had really honed me when I was in that spot, 90% understaffed. Just had a lot of my cash account wiped out. And I worked so hard to build this dream. This is my dream. My dream. My back's against that wall. So the only place I had to go was forward and keep fighting forward. Keep fighting forward each and every day. And I still do this, you know, even if I'm in a more comfortable position now, a lot more comfortable position, but I keep fighting forward. Everybody gets to one of these points, and it's the make or break you season. And I can't promise that living your dreams, living your life is going to be easy. But what I can promise you is what you get out of it, the rewards, enjoying the process, what you learn is far superior than any of the noise around you that the world wants to distract you with. So that's something that I just listened to relentlessly among other speeches when I was going through this tough time of saving my company. So I'm gonna go a little bit about the path to recovery. Phil, do you want to see if there's anybody else has any takeaways from that video?
Oh, sorry. Sure. Yeah. And from this point out, if anybody has questions, I encourage you to jump in with them. I mean, you might just, if something's on your mind, or if you're thinking about it, or if you want to ask Andrew, just go ahead and unmute yourself and say what you want to say. And but please ask questions if you have them. And Andrew, I just keep going. I give like a 5-second pause, but if you see someone's microphone unmute, means they probably want to say something. So
awesome. Well, I'll just keep rolling then. So path to recovery. So I'm stuck in the position, 9% of staff. So I gotta get I'm back in the field again. I had to do almost all the work. I got trucks that I had to fire 12 employees. I got trucks that are sitting. I got assets that are sitting. I have to make payments on those things. So the problem wasn't just 80,000. It multiplied. It multiplied. I mean, the total damage that I had to go through is probably worth about $500,000. Is what this cost me. So what I did is I hired the same consulting crew that was doing such a great job with me on the advertising and transfer that. I found out they could do a lot more. So I hired them to help me flush out my systems and redo my systems. We not only have a website for our company, we have a website for our employees as well, where our employees can go on their smartphones now and they can log in maintenance requests, they can log in time off requests right off the dot. We have all these other cool systems we were able to set up. I hired them to start monitoring the bank accounts. So I have a third party monitoring bank accounts. You know, nothing is going to be completely in-house again. This is what I found works for me. I now have a corporate structure. So I do have, you know, HR. I have someone who answers all the phones. I have an executive head of operations. Under that is I have the head of operations for the branches, and then under that is the field operation managers, which run a division such as mowing or landscaping, and then under those would be the supervisor of the employees. So I was able to flush out a lot of the systems that, with their help, that I didn't have right the first time. So it helped me get to another place, but it's tough getting there when you have to go to someone else and say, hey, I failed, help me. And so that's what Beacon Partners did. And they took a huge chance on me. And when they first started, I wasn't paying them what the value of their services was at all. So never be afraid to ask for help. But that took me leaps and bounds. I was using the credit to build up by utilizing the good debt I'd taken out previously to help save my business. I worked relentlessly. I can't tell you guys the amount of pain I went through. I don't recommend this to anybody. I was working around about 72 hours at a time, and then I would crash, and wherever I was, I would fall asleep in the shower. I would fall asleep in my truck, wherever I'd fall asleep at job sites. I was that exhausted. Like I was pushing myself till I had nothing left to give, and my body was giving out. I lost 47 pounds in a single month because I was working so hard. I forgot to eat. I just wanted to save and thrive and survive. I'm not going to let anything, any situation ever defeat me because, yeah, I had a failure and it was a big failure, but I'm not going to let that get me down. So, you know, longest shift ever, 96 hours straight without sleep. My longest shift with the lowest amount of sleep was 120 hours on 3-hour naps. Was living off of these things, Bang Energies. I still do. And I still pull overnighters, but not like I did. It was absolutely insane. But
what did you hold up?
It's a Bang Energy drink.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. I have advice for you at the end of this. Go ahead.
I stopped energy drinks.
No, they're great in your 20s.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
Start chilling in your 30s.
Okay.
And by the time you're 40, you got to go organic, whole foods, and 8 hours of sleep. But what you're doing in your 20s is freaking awesome.
I still eat organic, so that counts for half a point, right?
Good, man. I've been there with energy drinks and shots, and yeah.
They wear out your adrenal system. They really do. So, yeah, no, I mean, I was just having to give it everything I got. I owned a condo at the time. I ended up putting my condo on the market and selling it. Thank God for a profit. And I took that and I moved to my buddy's house. But the week I was working so hard, the week that I sold my condo, I wasn't able to make it to closing because my appendix burst. I ended up in the hospital. I was in the hospital. They did the surgery. I was out the next morning. I was at my parents' house trying to recuperate. I need somebody to help me get out of bed, someone to help me eat, all that cool stuff, eat, shower, whatever. Took a day to recover. Next day, I got a phone call. Well, my employee's messed up. So I go and grab my little walker. I told my mom, I said, look, you got to take me there. So one of my boys had spilled paint in my brand new truck. I got a 2019 Dodge Ram 2500 last year, and I'm still working on it. It's my project truck. I'm doing cool stuff like that, leads, and stuff like that to it. But yeah, no, I got out there, and the employees just weren't doing what it is. So I went back to work. The third day, I worked the entire day on my walker, doing what I could. I mean, I was doing pressure washing with that wand like that. And then I just said, screw it, screw the walker. I got to do this. I'm gonna work through the pain. The next week, I got a phone call that one of my buddies, he's one of the co-owners of Global Disinfecting, but they own a government contracting firm, and that's how we do a lot of our government contracting is through them. And they were having trouble with Henrico Zone 7. Their subcontractors were not doing what they're supposed to, not getting the jobs done. So I said, screw it. I'm under so much pressure. I said, you know what? I need to change. I got in my truck. I grabbed my leaf rig and I drove right up there. I drove right up there. I took over leaf rig. I was like, cool. It's only going to be like a week, right? I only got like a list this big. Henrico liked it so much they kept adding and adding and adding. Next thing you know, I'm up there for a month in a hotel, and I'm still grinding and working on these leaves, all while the person that I put in place to be in charge, my current operations manager at the time, was not doing it right. I find out later that he's partying with, he's sleeping with girls, not sending up the estimates, not returning the phone calls, not doing what he's supposed to do. So that's a lesson in learning about putting the right people in the right place, because I didn't do it. I thought the guy had it. He was one of the very few employees that I trusted and had been with me, through this journey. One of the ones that I didn't fire, who wasn't involved in the scheme, but unfortunately, he decided not to do the wrong thing. And later I find out he was involved in a little bit of embezzlement. So Beacon Partners warned me that I should probably get rid of him, but I had faith in him, and I should have listened. So I'm up there doing the leaves after surgery. At this point, I'm like, I might as well start another branch, which is how the Richmond branch became active. At the same time, I had to go back to reinstitute the management in Roanoke. I brought in another guy who's still with us, but he wasn't the right guy for the job because his cells weren't there, which is another example of putting the wrong person in the right position. And most recently, several months ago, I was able to hire on an awesome guy And I took a leap with the salary because I couldn't afford at the time. But I mean, things have changed night and day with having that right person. I don't have to worry about the brand at all. I get a weekly P&L statement. Cool, we're profitable. Dope. That's such a good feeling. But it takes time to get those key people, and you have to learn and discern, because I think it's something as myself as a young guy, that I have a downfall is I'm a little bit naive. You know, I just like when I started Several Slides Up, when I said we got to get everything writing and we have to get all the contracts signed. When I first started doing business, everything off the handshake basis, that's the same thing. I trust people and I believe in people's good too much. And that's not a bad thing. It's good to believe in people and pour resources into them and raise them up and give them an opportunity to prove themselves. But you also have to keep an eye on things at the same time to make sure that nobody's taken from you, because there are people out there that will take from you. But also there are great people that you can put in the wrong position, like the second guy that I did. So finally got everything sorted. Took quite a few months, quite a few sleepless nights, but we're in a lot better place. In fact, had our most profitable month of all time last month, all time, which is amazing. And we're actually expanding again, and we're able to buy some much needed equipment. So a little bit about the grind, the hustle, what it took for me to get there. It's not easy for me to admit that I had to go through these things, but it was essential. And I also don't recommend working, without sleep as long as I did. It definitely has some health effects and unforeseen benefits that I don't recommend. I think my appendix bursting was one of the causes, and I also ended up in the hospital a second time a little bit later for some chest pain, but luckily it was nothing. The key takeaways is you can pull yourself out of any situation, and it really takes faith, it takes grit, and it takes hard work. Any situation, and putting key people in key positions is beyond important. That's something I'm still learning how to do, and I'm getting better at. But that is so important to determine success, because at some point you're too big to be able to do everything like you used to. That goes back to the point of learning how to delegate, which is something that I have gotten a lot better on, but I'm still learning how to do, because when I first started, I was involved in everything. I was wearing all these hats, and you have to learn to let go of some of your hats. You still have to double check and make sure that they're getting done, holding people accountable, but you can't wear all the hats at the same time to be successful. And don't be afraid to outsource the things you aren't good at. I'm not good at HR. Since hiring on Beacon Partners, I've not had a single unemployed. I haven't had to pay any unemployment, whereas before I did, because I didn't have those systems in place. We have all sorts of recording systems in place that are really key to avoiding having to pay stuff like that. I had to pay unemployment for a guy that I caught smoking pot in a truck and I fired. So outsourcing the things that you aren't good at affordable rates is I think is important in learning how to delegate. I think another thing that kept me going throughout the entire time is I kept in the back of my mind that I have families to feed, and we're all business owners. We all hire employees. We're responsible for families. I couldn't not only fail because of me and my dream and how hard I worked to get to where I was and what I wanted to accomplish in life. I had to keep going because I feed families. I have families to feed. There are people that work for me that depend on me being successful so they can have a paycheck and they can take care of their kids. And so a lot of those times when I was at my tiredest, that's the thing I would keep repeating inside my head. I have to do this for them. I have to do this for them. So I think find not only strength internally, but finding strength externally when you're going through situations like this is super important. What drives you? It's your wives, it's your kids, it's your employees and their families. What drives you? Because when you have something external like that, you can't fail. You can't fail them. So I think that's super important to have. Despite all the struggles, I did help. I did open another branch in Richmond this year. It's still very much in the beginning stages, but I'm super excited about that. We won the 2021 Bash Sustainable Business Award for our help in Roanoke's second annual Beautification Day. I also received a accommodation from Senator Mark Warner for what we're doing in our community. And the most important thing, I survived. I'm now back on the road to thriving. So where I am now, this is where I'm at. All my service areas are on the left. So I'm super excited. I think as COVID has affected businesses, and we have labor shortages. We have a lot of things. I think we as entrepreneurs have an amazing opportunity to pivot and learn to do things better, learn to do things differently. So this is something I'm really excited about. I know for a fact I'm set up and I'm going to have the best year ever in 2022. I'm going to finish this year strong, and I'm going to have the best year ever, because if you can do things differently and pivot, think about your pricing. And the last Zoom meeting, Daniel and Phil talked about the pricing algorithm they have, and I have a pricing algorithm that's very similar to that. And running things off of pricing algorithms is going to help you adapt rather than off of price sheets these days, because everything's going back up. I mean, look at seed. Look how much seed's gone up just this month alone. So being able to adapt in this market and learn to utilize the resources. How do you hire how good employees and attract them? How do we as landscapers take it from a this is a job for employees to this is now a career where they can make money? And that stuff is cool. I want to see the landscape industry where people are like, yeah, I can make a career out of this. I think that'd be so cool. That's what I'm currently working on. I've already instituted some bonus structures within my own company, as well as salary position stuff that I think are really cool to help people see that they have a path up in the landscape field. And of course, always maintaining our professionalism, integrity, and keep growing and doing the right thing always. So it's a little bit about where we're at now. Truly believe God brought me through a lot of this because I gave it my all, and I told him, I told God, I said, I'm going to give it everything I got. And I truly believe he did. I truly believe he took me the rest of the way, because I went from worst start to a year ever to my most profitable month ever in the same year. So I'm very future oriented. I still want to keep growing, but obviously in a lot smarter way. So right now I'm going to be working on maintaining and establishing my branches more in the service areas I'm already in. I'm also going to keep working on improving my systems. That's something I'm really going to undertake heavy. This winter is just really tearing them all apart, even though we already built new ones. I think having good concrete systems is going to be key for my future growth when I do end up doing another crazy expansion run again. Want to keep working on paying off bad debt. That's a debt that's not attached to any assets. I also want to focus on continued but more controlled expansion, and inspiring others on a daily basis is huge to me. I really want to inspire other people and say and use my story to show people that look, I went there. You can go through it too. You can have no money and still start your dream and still live out your dream and go 120 every day. You can do it. It just takes passion, drive, willingness to think outside the box, and most importantly, giving back to other people. And then the other thing is I'm never going to stay satisfied. I just don't stay satisfied. I always want to grow, whether that's personally, whether that's spiritually, or whether that's as a business owner, whether that's what I learn, or just, as far as size-wise, learning how to do things better, and helping to be a change for good. So future-oriented is key. How I stay on track. Feeding my mind. My two favorite motivational speakers ever is Billy Alsbrook. I adopted his life motto, which is, I am blessed and unstoppable, and to God be the glory. So if you have a chance, look him up. I think he's a great listen to. Eric Thompson, he's known as the hip hop preacher. So feeding your mind on a daily basis is really important. There's other great motivational speeches and speakers out there as well. Other things, never stop learning. I don't know everything. I don't ever want to say that I know everything. You can always learn more. There's somebody better than me. There's a lot of people better than me, and getting to learn from them is key. Learning stuff not only in our industry but also stuff around us too. So I love reading. That goes into that. Fueling your body with good food. I eat a diet, besides the bangs. I eat a diet mostly of organic food. I eat a lot of meat. I eat a lot of good fats, because that's a natural energy source for your body. And I kind of stay away from carbs, because they can kind of fill you up, bloat you up. And I find that the natural fats are a better energy source for me, but don't take it from me because I am not a nutritionist. The other thing is using time wisely and staying focused. There's so many distractions in this world, whether it's TV, whether it's your phone and Facebook, whether it's whatever, just staying focused. So be able to pick a task and stay on track. and then giving back to others and the community is another way I stay on track. So living my life 120 beast mode. I was going to play this video, Legends, but I want to make sure we have enough time. The other thing is this SoundCloud one. This is my favorite motivational speech ever. Kind of defines my mindset. And so I'm going to play it. It's about 6 minutes, it's short, but just listen to the words, listen and let them sink in. So I'm going to switch over to that. Let me know, Phil, if the sound doesn't work.
With the line of gazelle, you're still stuck. You're a gazelle. You are a gazelle. You need something to motivate you. What happens to the gazelle when the lion ain't chasing him? Well, what happens is nothing. He stops running. Why? Because he always needs something external to motivate him. There are a lot of people, you're not successful in life, not because you ain't got talent, not because you ain't got skills, but your character ain't right. And I've told you this before, that if you're not careful, your talent will take you places that your character can't keep you. So what's your motive? The reason why you can't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the reason why when I say get up at 6, you're looking at me like I'm crazy, is because you don't have that thing that's driving you, that's pushing you to say no to the alarm clock and wake up, no to the snooze button. When you get that extra assignment, that extra lap, the reason why you can't do it is because you don't have the right to that motive that's pushing the action. What's your why? Somebody came up to me. They said, E.T., man, I'm tired. I put in the work, E.T., I'm not seeing the results. I did what you told me to do. I read the book you told me to read. I put in the hours you told me to put in. I'm doing it, and I'm not seeing anything. Listen to me closely. Why do you do what you do? And that's so important. It's not enough just to be a doctor. You got doctors who got terrible bedside manners. Terrible. You got lawyers who are skilled but arrogant. And we talk about character right now. What's your motive? What moves you? What drives you? And whatever it is, sports, life, business, whatever it is, health, listen to me very closely. You got to change that mindset. Even in your action, while your action is good, you got to ask what drives it, what guides it, what moves it, what's the spirit behind it, what's the reason behind it, what's the purpose behind it. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, when you ain't got nothing left in your tank, you got to think about the people in your life that you're doing this for. And then if you could think about them, you could go one more mile. You can go one more day at work. You can find a scholarship. Listen to me, when you're doing it for somebody else, when you like that lion, if I don't grind, if we don't grind, if I don't grind, they don't eat. This is it. I can't. I wish I could back off, but it's 4th quarter. I wish I could tell you something else. I wish I could tell you you tired, go take a break. I wish I could tell you tired, rest for a year. I wish I could tell you that it's gonna get easier. I wish I could tell you it's gonna get easier. I wish I could tell you that if you just keep going, it's gonna get lighter. The weight is gonna get lighter. I wish I could tell you that, but that's not the truth. The truth is you gotta find something within. You gotta find something within, and that's gotta push you, and that's gotta elevate you, and that's gotta drive you, and that's gotta move you. And when you find out what your why is, and your why gotta be deeper than you, when you find your why, you don't hit snooze no more. When you find your why, you find a way to make it happen.
Really deep, guys.
It's time for you to look within yourself and decide that I'm in charge of my destiny. I'm in charge here. Time to face yourself and talk to yourself in the mirror. And I'm not going to allow anybody to turn me around. I am determined that I'm going to make it. The time for just wishing is past. Time for doing, that's the time right now. Time for acting on your dream. Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. We can decide to take charge of our own destiny, begin to truly live our dreams.
Listen to me closely. When you get to the point where enough is enough, when you get to the point where it hurt real bad, when you get to the point you can't take it no more, when you get to that point, I'm telling you, I can't explain it to you, but doors start opening, opportunities start happening. But what you cannot do is you cannot quit during the process. You cannot give up because it ain't what you see. You cannot give up. Champions keep going when they don't have anything left in their tank. That's the difference between the greats. That's what separates them. When they don't have no more, when it's over, when they're tired, when they're frustrated, when they're ready to give up, when they spent their last dime, that's when they get started. Are you hearing me? It's when you have nothing left. It's when you depleted all your money, when all your energy gone, when you have nothing left. That's when it's showtime. When you find a way out of no way. When you find breath that you don't have. When you find energy that did not exist. When you want this thing as bad as you want to breathe.
So I ask you, what do you intend to do now?
So that's my favorite motivational speech of all time. I think there's that. I mean, it's heavy. It's loaded with stuff. I think one of the key things.
Who is that?
That is E.T. That's Eric Thomas. That's E.T. the hip hop preacher. So that's one of my favorite motivational speeches ever. I really want to end with that because this is my story. This is my dream, and this is where I'm heading. But each and every one of you guys on here has your own dream, your own vision for what you want to accomplish in life. And I want you guys to get inspired to go after it 120 every single day. Your story is going to be different than mine, and that is awesome. You're going to do things better than I could. I want every one of you guys to be better than me. I think that should be the goal for any leader, is to want his followers to do better than him, for my employees to do better than me. I love it when my employees do better than me. But mindset is everything. And the key that hits home the most is champions get started when they have nothing left in the tank. When I already worked 48 hours, I need to go another 24. When I have no more money left. I mean, I was making payroll 50 minutes before the bank closed some days. And I think that's the key takeaway. What's your dream? Why are you doing it? And then go after it 120. So I'm going to end on that. The last slide is open for questions, discussion, and I hope this was valuable to you guys.
Andrew, thank you. I'm going to let you end on that because I'm not going to try to add anything more profound. It was all just said. What I do want to note is we've talked about how you eat. Yeah. What I can appreciate is what you feed your brain. And this isn't something that, I mean, I'm all excited. I just had back surgery. I'm ready to get up and start moving some furniture around, or at least, bend down to pick up a box. So I'm motivated. But that doesn't mean a thing tomorrow if I don't do something to remind myself of that, and the next day. And it starts to become who you are. Who you are may be somebody that likes to binge seasons of this or that on Netflix. But if who you are wants to go out and find quality material to put in your brain from a combination of sources, and there's a lot out there, then that starts, those thoughts become who you are. You become your thoughts. Before you do anything, you have a thought of doing it, even if you don't recognize it. You move your arm, your brain has sent a signal, it's a thought. So pay attention to those thoughts and listening to people that motivate you, that inspire you. That is a good place to start with what your brain food. Model the success of other people. Mm-hmm. Copy them. Be a copycat. Well, this guy did this and got that. So goes to reason that I could do this and get that. But I could even improve it. So Andrew, thank you. I really appreciate what you brought. If you are not to the others in the group on the Zoom call, if you are not currently a member of the Steel Toe Mastermind group, you are welcome to become one. You're not forced to become one. You can hang out, and there's good information on the internet. You might do great, and I hope that for everybody. But if you're interested, here's the unique thing that I love about our members. We're all focused on this, on the success of our businesses. But more than that, we are very hyper focused on each other. We're a caring group of people. I mean, we know like your business isn't going to grow if you don't grow yourself. The same mindset that created a problem is not going to be the same mindset that's going to find the solution. The same thought around money. The first time you ever hit $250,000 in sales, I mean, and stopped because you thought, oh my God, this is like so much money. And then you've maintained. I mean, think what it takes to grow is new people, new ideas. Personally, I love what we have created and are creating at Steel Toe University. That's why it's Steel Toe. It represents contractors that work in the home improvement industry for the most part, or outdoor construction. So if you're interested in what you heard tonight and hearing a lot more of that and going way deep, we already have tons, I mean, hours and hours of courses, probably well over 100 hours of courses online on how to bid, how to estimate your projects, how to read a job, profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statements. It's all there and more. And there's just content that's just constantly being created and put out. We're growing, and we're growing because of people like Andrew, people like Daniel Thompson, who's not on the call tonight, but contributed last week, people like Al Eisenhower, and others that are on this call that you get to know by name. And it's really hard to do alone, and it's not impossible, but man, we speed up that learning curve a lot. So you don't have to have these same mistakes. You'll have other mistakes, but they'll be new. You don't have to make these mistakes. But when you're there, you got a tribe of people that are there to support you. So with that, if you're interested, head over to steeltoeu.com, and in the upper right corner, click on free membership, and you're going to get 1 week of free membership. Check it out, see if it's for you, and we hope you stay. But we're gonna keep growing, and our numbers are continuing to grow, and we hope you'll be a part of that. With that, I will close out with official thank you, Andrew. You brought a ton of value tonight, and I really appreciate that. You did all the heavy lifting tonight, so thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor to be here.
You got it.
It is an honor.
Thank you, Mom and Dad Saris, everybody. Again, my parents, yay, you know, they're in Texas, so this is cool. Get to check in with my folks. Does anybody have anything on their mind or that they'd like to share? Any last questions?
Could I add one more thing?
Of course.
Okay, the last part of the talk had to do with problems that arise. And I mean, you had trouble with your truck, you had trouble, you know, with customers, you had trouble with COVID, lots of problems. And then you showed the video, and that's about, you know, how to try to overcome these problems. Phil and I know a man, Mark Rogers, and he used to summarize how to move ahead when you've got a lot of problems on your shoulders. And I just thought it's just a few words, but how many times if you say it to yourself, it'll invigorate you. And he says, you know, it's hard. It's hard with business, it's hard with friends, it's hard with this, and it's hard with that, but it's only hard. And he left it there, you know? So you can do anything. It's only hard.
Thank you. No, it's true. It's true. And every problem is an opportunity to learn and grow as a person, and on a character level, in addition to solving the actual problem. So.
Got it. All right. So scheduling wise, we're going to do this again next week and the week after. We do have, you can, if you are in the mastermind, Andrew and I are talking about doing a Monday motivational segment. So we're going to have some more details coming out on that. But everyone else, please have a great night. I'm going to let you go and get back to your families and get some sleep. If you enjoyed this, if you found something of value out of it, share it with somebody. Click the share button on the video and send it. Share it in a group that you're in, share it with a friend that you have, share it with somebody that you know can use it. That's all we ask. And thank you again, Andrew. So have a good night, everybody. And that's the end. We'll see
Thank
you.
you guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.